Time yourself. No joking. Oh, hello. I'm very in the camera. I'm like, hey.
This is here in case my phone starts to die, and if you want to put in the meantime the speaker with music.
They all work, so you're all good. All the
Perfect.
microphones.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
just going to run to the ladies. And then
Okay.
you need to tell the girls that there's a slight delay when you turn around to when it's loud.
Okay. All right. Good.
So it's not working, it's just
Okay.
slow.
So this goes here.
Okay.
So it's an adapter for if you want to put the speaker.
Okay. Yeah.
And to use the link that George sent. I don't know if you have access to that. As people are coming, and then if my phone is starting to die, like you can.
Okay.
No, I need to use it because. Okay, you will use. Will use them because I won't be able to take pictures or WhatsApp.
Oh, the camera is so close.
I need to do testing the sound.
Do you know what?
Testing 1, 2, 3. The sound of live streaming. Testing. Perfect. Thank you.
is there inside makes you feel so small. But I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow. Show me a smile, and don't be unhappy. Can remember when I saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you're taking all you can bear, you call me because you know I'll be there. I see your true colors shining through. See your true colors. That's why I love you. So don't be afraid to let them show your true colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Hello everyone, I'm Chanaka Fernando, a youth advocate from Sri Lanka. I started my journey as an 8-year-old in the Girl Guiding movement, and currently I'm a member of the World Board of the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. I began my journey in global advocacy and policy as a WAGGGS youth delegate, as a 19-year-old, exactly 10 years ago at 57 CSW, and since then been a global facilitator for the Stop the Violence campaign as well. I will be your moderator for the day, and before we begin, I would like to emphasize that it is important that we create a safe space to feel supported and comfortable talking about our concerns, our rights, about our experiences and opinions. Therefore, this will be a great and safe space where everyone can rise to the challenge of speaking openly about diversity and social justice. Today, I'm joined by 5 of our global advocacy champions. Each year, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts engages in the Commission on the Status of Women. We support a cohort of young women from around the world to take part and engage in CSW events and activities and support them to advocate for change directly with their national decision makers and governments. The theme for CSW67 is innovation and technological change and education in the digital age for achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. The experiences of women and girls online and how safely they are able to navigate digital spaces will be our focus today. She serves freedom approaches to ending violence against women and girls online and creating safe spaces for young women and girls will pose the central question: how can we all work together to end violence against women and girls online and create safe spaces online? WAGGGS believes in practicing what we preach on girls and young women's leadership and participation. Therefore, we are happy to share that today's event is co-designed, co-created, and co-delivered by the Global Advocacy Champions. As the umbrella organization for girl guiding and girl scouting globally, we represent almost 10 million girls and young women across 152 member organizations. And we are the world's largest movement dedicated for girls and women. Through the cutting-edge non-formal educational programs, leadership development, and girl-led advocacy work, we educate and empower girls to effect change in their communities and beyond. Our movement is open to all girls from all walks of life. Girl Guides and Girl Scouts meet in urban and rural areas in low middle income and high income countries and in peaceful and conflict settings. Through participating in Girl Guiding, girls feel confident, resilient, and empowered to take the lead in their lives. Girl Guiding is grassroots and girl-led, meaning that our girls lead the design and delivery of our projects and campaigns. WAGGGS provides resources, training, and capacity building to our local partners, our member organizations around the world who deliver an educational program which supports girls through Girl Guiding and Girl Scouting groups to tackle the issues important to them. Our non-formal educational methodology, which relies on girl-led experiential learning in peer groups, helps to make complex topics accessible and fun for young people. Now I will introduce our panelists. From the Global Advocacy Champions, we have Abigail Christmas from the Commonwealth of Dominica, Joanna Veit from Germany, Linda Wilson from Ghana, Laura Ives Hicks from Australia, Roja Erika from Madagascar. We are also delighted to have with us our long-term partners, Victoria Floyd from the Dove Self-Esteem Project, and Kim Ullman from Generation Digital. Now let me go straight to the specific programs we will focus on during today's event. Starting with the Stop the Violence campaign, which is our global campaign to end violence against girls and women. And since launching in 2011, Girl Guides and Girl Scouts from more than 70 countries around the world have been involved in this campaign. This campaign works towards a world where girls and young women live free from violence and a threat of violence, where they are informed and are empowered to claim their rights. A key distinguishing feature of this educational program is that it aims to prevent violence before it starts. By working with children where they are still young, before social norms are too firmly entrenched, the program aims to instill healthier attitudes towards gender and relationship in an age-appropriate way. It creates safe and supportive sessions for young people to learn about their rights and to discuss challenge violence against women and girls. Next, I move to the Free Being Me, which is an educational program that promotes body confidence and a world free from appearance-related anxiety. It aims to support young people to recognize and challenge these global beauty pressures using methodologies and activities that are scientifically proven to improve body confidence and self-esteem. Finally, the Serve Smart, which is an internet safety program to support young people to connect safely and positively online. Through the Serve Smart 2.0 curriculum, young people learn how they can use the internet as a member of Generation Digital, not only communicate, learn and have fun, but also to raise their voices as responsible citizens of the world. This non-formal education curriculum, created in partnership with Norton, has successfully reached more than 350,000 across 5 continents with over 40 countries and 700 trainers involved. If you are interested to learn more about the WAGGGS program, we will share at the end how to engage and support them as well. But during the event today, we will be sharing more details about the programs and engaging from what the grassroots level experience has been. We will continue to share more about them, so wait with us. And as we unfold the event, we hope that we interact with all of you in the audience, but also, keeping our non-formal education or the activity-based way to keep it more interactive and engaging. Now I would like to invite our global advocacy champions, Laura from Australia, who brings a wealth of experience with a focus in policy and leadership, and also from Linda Wilson from Ghana, who has the experience of rolling out the Stop the Violence campaign in her country to facilitate this next segment. And I would request the audience members to actively engage in this interactive segment and be part of this conversation. Laura and Linda, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad that you made it here today. So I would want to share what I took yesterday from the general discussion. So yesterday, the Prime Minister of Iceland mentioned that in order to eradicate online violence, the best thing is to bring it into light. So I think we give some people here some stories. So in order to make it known, we need to gather evidence. So these are the stories we want to share with you. So we'll move on to, if you have the story, kindly raise your hand, and then I'll just come to you so that you share the stories with us. So kindly engage. All right, so
This is from Malaysia. She's age 13 to 15. I felt unsafe online because I have experienced that sexual harassment online.
okay, so anyone to share their thoughts on what she actually said?
Has anyone been harassed in some way online that they'd like to share with us?
I'd like to share a story from a young German girl. She's now a woman. And when she was a child, she was harassed. She got men approaching her, trying to abuse her. And so when she was an adult, she wanted to fight against that. And she wrote articles about that subject on Wikipedia. And then she got a lot of problems with a lot of men. And at the end, she put down her account.
So we're just going to, we've got Natalie up the back here who just wants to share a question with the Minister from the UK.
Sorry and apologies for arriving so late. Look, my name is Caroline Noakes. I'm the chair of the Women in Equality Select Committee in UK Parliament. And the one thing I have learned from today so far is that if you spot some Girl Scouts, just follow them. It's a very true fact. Look, so we currently in the UK Parliament are doing an enormous amount of work around the online safety legislation, trying to keep girls and women safe online. And it is stories like the one we heard just then about online harassment and the impact that has on girls to prevent them from living their lives as they wish to. And yesterday we heard so many stories from parliamentarians talking about the online harassment that they face. And my big takeaway was from Nima from Tanzania, who said, don't let yourself be silenced. If you're silent, then you're online abuser, harasser as well. And so that my message to the girls, and I'm so sorry that A, I'm late, and B, that arguably was a really bad girl guide that I never learned to apply, is that you have a power. You have a power in each other, and you have a power in your voice. So make sure that you use it. The survey that you shared with each other showed the most horrendous examples of abuse, of fears about your own body image, and fears about living your life in the 21st century, the impact that has on you. Together, you are powerful, and together you have a voice that you must use to speak to your elected representatives to make sure that your opinions are heard. I always say in the UK, the guys do a girls' attitude survey, which sits on my desk. And I use that, I always refer to it, that is my Bible, because that tells me what young women think. And if I don't know what you think, I cannot represent you in Parliament. So apologies I can't be with you for the rest of the session, but that is my one message for you all, is use your voice, make sure that people like me are hearing you, are understanding you, and are legislating to make your world better.
Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for taking girls and young women into consideration when you're making your decisions. So thank you for coming today.
Okay, so
Just turning around. When I was younger in particular, when I would be in different forums and chat threads, I would sometimes receive unwanted messages from others, usually male. They were often in sexual nature and sometimes would turn to threats or insults if I didn't respond to them. Canada, over age 35.
thank you very much. So please, any reflections on that? Anyone to share something related to that?
So I don't have a little paper thing, but anyways, something that I've experienced, and I know a lot of girls have experienced. Girls that I know, girls from my school. I can't speak for every girl, but just from my experience, being online and social medias, it does come with some scary stuff. And it's stuff that I've lived through and I've just accepted as a normal stuff. I guess it's pretty normal for girls, teenagers, me to get requests for nude images. Some girls I know do send them. I didn't even know that that was illegal until doing this work for CSW. And I was like, that's kind of bad. And it's something that's just normalized at this point, at least in my state. Yeah, it's just something that we've experienced, and I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, I think it's important to be heard and important to realize that we don't know that it's bad. I mean, it makes us feel uncomfortable, yes, but we don't realize that it is illegal, that it is wrong. It's just something that we shake off and deal with, and you just try to block them maybe, but yeah, that's just an experience that I've had.
Thank you so much for sharing, and it's really important that we open up and we say those things so we can stop going on about this, so they stop happening, so they're going to happen in the future. And later we'll be discussing some of the things that Girl Guides does to prevent and help people recognise that these are issues and these are against the law. Would you like to share?
So this is from Rondo, age 25 to 30. Whenever I want to express a political or a feminist view, I don't feel safe to talk.
Thank you. Does anyone have any reflections on that?
I was just going to share my story. I've actually been sent a death threat from a guy that I used to date, and then he found me on my online dating profile. So I screenshotted that. This was years ago, before this was like technology and online social media was more of a presence. But now I have a cybersecurity awareness company where we talk about kind of the hard things of like cyberbullying and online grooming and revenge porn. So taking kind of that personal experience and transformed it into something that's positive for kids. Yes, sending pictures. As a cybersecurity professional, you should know that what you post never goes away. Even if you delete it, it disappears. There's a server that has your image or your voice recording or something on it. So if you do not want a judge to see it, do not post it. I want you to be really clear. If you do not want a judge to see it, do not post it.
Okay, so I believe in one way or the other, we all have been abused online. So we are still gathering evidence in order to eradicate this online gender-based violence against women. So that's why we kindly ask you to still stay back, relax, and then enjoy the flow. As the World Association of Girl Guides, the Global Advocacy Campaign Champions, we are here to actually give the report and everything concerning our acts and everything. Yeah, so we move on to the next story.
Okay, hi. I have a story from a girl in Lebanon. She's aged between 19 and 25. And she said that she had an online stalker who would DM her from fake accounts and say inappropriate stuff to her. And each time she blocked him from the account, and he would create another account to talk to her again. And she ended up removing all the male followers that she doesn't know from her Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I'm now going to pass to Abigail, who's got a quote to share.
I am skeptical of everything and everyone online. This quote is from a young lady who is 19 to 25 years old. So I will provide a backstory of this young lady, and we're going all the way back to when she was 13 years old. creating a Facebook account to chat with her friends because of how exciting everyone made it seem. One day she woke up to a fake Facebook with a barrage of insultive and derogative messages. She was not sure who was sending these messages, embarrassed, afraid, ashamed, disturbed. These are all some words you could use to describe how that teenage girl felt. With no words to respond, she brushed it off and blocked the account, believing that this was a one-time event. Her hopes of this being the first and last time was countered when she received more messages from other accounts without profile pictures. Her response one time was, "Who are you and what do you want?" Without responding, that account was deactivated. She was confused and wondering who possibly could be trying to bully her in such a way. This persisted for over 2 years. At some point, her photos were posted with derogative messages and comments, degrading her to the lowest level possible. One time, she received a message from an account with a profile picture. She did not know who that person was, but that message to her was a whole sort of insults, all kinds of insults, describing her body and discriminating against how she looked, and all sorts of derogative other comments. One time, maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks after receiving that message from that account, she saw that person while she was traversing through her local town. So she decided to confront the person since it was the first time seeing that in life. The person claimed that the account had been hacked and she was currently afraid because she's being targeted by so many people claiming that they received derogative messages from her account. She named someone that she suspected would have hacked her account. Lo and behold, that person was a friend of that 14-year-old girl. And that girl, as a result, was faced with anxiety, depression, and to this day, she still is very skeptical, as you would have heard in the quote, and she has a problem with trusting online messages. She thinks everything is maybe from a hacked account or a fake account. And these are the things that a lot of young women go through. This is a real story, and I know this is a real story from a real girl because this is my story. This happened to me when I was a teenage girl, and today these experiences helped me to be a better advocate, so this will not happen to other girls and young women. This happened to me in Dominica, but I'm sure that it happens to girls all over the world. From reading the survey results and the quotes from girls from over 70 countries from our survey, I know that these are things that happen on a daily basis. Although I was able to take the negative and make it into a positive, maybe everyone will not be so strong and be able to try to make a difference with the trauma. So this is why we're here today, and we're calling on the decision makers to help make a change for girls all over the world so they will not have to go through such trauma, especially at young ages, just trying to have fun and chat with their friends on the internet and having to go through so much cyberbullying and cyber attacks. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Abigail. And I know there's a lot of other people who would love to share, and we'd love to hear from you, but unfortunately we don't have the time today. Back to Genevieve.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura and Linda, for facilitating this segment, but also to all the audience members who will be engaged in this activity, and also for Abigail for sharing your experience with us. And I think hearing what the reflections were on some of those goals, I think they're right on time to move where we can actually share some of the key highlights from the survey results. And I'm going to go back again to Abigail to share some of the key highlights that we've got gathered from the survey that was done. I will give it over to you.
Thank you, Samantha. The World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts conducted a survey for the purpose of collecting data for evidence of the risk and girls and young women face as a result of online unsafe spaces. Upon entry to this room, many of you were given this handout. This is a report of that survey. So I'm asking that you have it handy as I will be making reference to certain things that are there. My purpose today is to illustrate the seriousness of how unsafe online spaces can be for women and girls in various ways. I will not add any of my personal comments or opinions, but I will allow these statistics to tell the story that needs to be told. The respondents of this survey included Girl Guides and non-Girl Guide members from over 70 countries across all regions in the world. That includes the Western Hemisphere region, the African region, the Asian region, Arab region, and Europe region, with 42% of the respondents being between the ages of 19 and 35 years old. The majority percentage of 45% being girls between the ages of 13 and 18 years old, and the remaining 35% were above 35 years old. The results prove that the top 3 social media apps being used were Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. This is just the top 3 for the population that answered the survey. Majority of respondents recorded that they spend an average of 4 to 5 hours online per day, and the most popular activities recorded were watching videos and chatting with friends. 66% of respondents reported that they had witnessed sexual and or violent content online that evokes an uncomfortable and unsettling feeling within them. Over 200 respondents of that 66% population were girls between the ages of 13 and 18 years old, witnessing these sexual or violent content. Almost 50% of the respondents had been victim to unsolicited or unwelcome messages of sexual nature at some point in time. 36% have at some point felt uncomfortable because of comments by others on their posts or posts of other people. And 27% have been cyberbullied or discriminated against because of their appearance. 100% of the respondents believe that they will face with these attacks and online threats because they are women or female. And this affected the way that 58% of the girls and women of how they engage in online spaces. Majority of these respondents noted that after using the reporting systems provided by the social media platforms, no real impact was made. These survey results are not just statistics. These are real numbers that represent real girls and real women all over the world.
Thank you, Abigail. And I think without taking much time, let's also go to really dig deeper into some of the programs, because what you hear from reports, the issues that girls and young women face today, we've been able to address at least up to a certain extent through our non-formal educational programs. So I think it's very important today at this event we focus some of our questions and to share some of what these programs have really impacted the girls and young women's lives at the grassroots level, but also hear from our global advocacy champions who really rolled out these programs, what it has been, what their key learnings have been, and what some of these challenges are. So knowing and understanding some of these striking statistics that you shared, Abigail, I think it's also important for us to have that lens of what it is like for us to be here at this space at a global level and being able to lobby decision makers to really take them into consideration and then to really look at how this will go into that local grassroots level when we are really delivering some of these programs. So I'm going to now move to Linda because you bring the experience of working on the Stop the Violence campaign, which focuses on early prevention and is built around the 4 pillars of building knowledge, awareness, and understanding of violence against women and girls, but also to develop young people's confidence and abilities to be change agents, to speak out and to challenge social norms and behaviors that tolerate gender violence. It also focuses on training young people to lead advocacy initiatives at national and international levels, also to influence policy and decision makers to address gender violence and to build a movement to address or prevent gender-based violence. So what can you share with our audience and with all of us today, Linda, what it has been like for a girl to be speaking out and taking action on this theme in your country, also relating to the theme of CSW this year? Over to you, Linda.
Thank you very much for this platform to address Stop the Violence. All right, so the prevalence of online violence against women is rising. Regrettably, it often leads to victims' lives being ruined because of the offline damages it typically causes. In this digital era, digital technology comes with a number of risks, including online harassment from strangers, such as unsolicited messages, cyberbullying, cyber stalking, unwanted sexual messages or images, as well as risks to data security and privacy. According to a 2021 United Nations Women's Study, the most frequent form of violence is getting unwanted images or sexually explicit content, which represents 43%, followed by unwanted communication, which represents 38%, receiving insulting or hateful messages, which represent 35%, and direct sexual blackmail, which also represents 22%. Such actions have also caused physical and psychological harm, damaged women's and girls' reputations, prevented them from taking advantage of online opportunities, prevented them from accessing information, hindered their ability to operate technological devices, and caused them to lose confidence in their appearance as a result of the negative comments left on their pictures that were posted online. Similar to other nations, Ghanaian women face a variety of online forms of discrimination and as well as issues with access to internet and digital devices, a lack of ICT skills, and other obstacles that prevent them from fully exercising their rights online. This is so evident in the 7th round of the Ghana Living Standards Survey, which stated that the percentage of people who use computer, representing 14.3%, is nearly double that of those who possess one, that is 7.2%. According to the gender breakdown, 11.5% of men own a computer device compared to 19.5% of men who use one. Only 9.5% of females use a computer device and just 3.5% of them own one. This is actually sad. And also it could be as a result of the unpaid care work at home, which leaves girls to have less time to go online to also share their thoughts. So in an effort to better understand what it's like to be a young woman online and what needs to be done to ensure freedom and equality, our She Serves Freedom Survey, which was introduced during the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, has gathered more than 1,000 voices and experiences from young women from around the world. Girls from more than 70 different countries share their voices with the world, and to our surprise, we discovered that 41% of girls and young women responded that they have received unwanted and unwelcome messages of sexual content. 21% of girls and women have received sexual comments that made them feel uncomfortable. 14% have received threats of sexual or violent behavior. Over 30% have felt negative about themselves due to other people's comments on their own or other people's content. 100% of respondents believe that this behavior, action, and violation towards them was because they were girls and women. Last but not the least, 42% of girls who have felt harm online have now changed their behaviors as a consequence. Changing behavior, imposing restrictions on how they engage online, and self-censoring. So I would share a personal experience. So I have this cousin who is a statistician, and she had quite a number of followers on Facebook. So one day we woke up and realized that her account was hacked actually by someone, and the person was using that to promote pornographic material. So we all got concerned, and I was chatting and trying to find out what happened. And out of she was also using that platform to promote educational and then her business. Educational because as a statistician, in case you need facts and figures, she's the right person to go to. She provides people with facts, what is happening in Ghana. So actually, this really caused a lot of damage and she had to delete her Facebook account completely. And I think that wasn't the best thing to do, all because of the rights which are not in place to enforce that she's able to stay positively online. So I would like to make these recommendations in order to address this issue. So one, establishing a clear framework, legal framework to address online violence against women. That's by adopting efficient cyber security policies and infrastructure. Actually, Ghana has implemented the cybersecurity law, which is at 2020. So this is actually there to address online gender-based violence against women. And also, states should maintain an independent, unbiased, and well-resourced judiciary and police administration so that victims of abuses, including online ones, can seek requital from the courts, including restraining orders and compensation. For instance, in Ghana, we have the Domestic Violence and Victim Support Unit. It is a special police unit responsible for gender-related issues. And mostly people think that online violence is not violence, but actually online violence is real violence. So these things are actually important for us to close the gender inequality gap. Last but not the least, countries should encourage gender equality and equity at all educational levels, including online education and digital literacy in the use of the internet and ICTs for everyone without gender-based discrimination. Equipping women with the necessary skills encourages their ability to articulate themselves, increases their capacity, and makes it possible for them to take part in social and political discussions online. So, although efforts have been made by governments, businesses, and NGOs such as WAGGGS, there's more work that needs to be done to achieve gender equality and equity in this digital era. As a global advocacy champion, I'm working towards a world where all girls are valued and take action to change the world. What will you also do as an individual to ensure that she serves freedom? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda, for sharing your experience, your journey, but also making such powerful recommendations, which I think is so crucial, which also connects the dot of what some of these programs do. Because for young women like Linda to go through the Stop the Violence program, know about what gender-based violence was, and know when it happens to someone, her family member or someone else, to how to respond to that, how to take action, how to speak out. And now to come to CSW and make such recommendations, it really shows that what these programs can do to change lives of girls and young women. So now moving to the next one, I would like to move to Joanna. So all around the world, girls and young women struggle with self-esteem as a result of low body confidence. They often lack body confidence because they are constantly told to achieve an impossibly perfect look, society's beauty standards. The impact of all this pressure has serious consequences on young people's physical and mental health and holds them back from achieving their full potential. So having worked with young people in your country and the region, what are some of your key learnings and your experience on this subject?
Thank you for the question, and hello everyone. So before I get to the point, I want to define and clarify what do we mean when we talk about body confidence. So body confidence for us is that we are happy with the way we live and that we are feeling ourselves in our bodies. So it's basically free being yourself. And that is also where Free Being Me, the program that Shanafia just introduced in the beginning, comes into place. But you might ask yourself, what does body confidence and Free Being Me has to do with CSW and this year's priority theme? The answer is easy. Just imagine how much time do you spend daily online. The survey Abigail was just talking about states that over 50% of girls and women spend over 4 hours of their lives each day online. So now I invite you to think and put yourself into the shoes of a girl who is just 13 years old and growing up as a teenage girl. Maybe it's also your daughter, or maybe it's your little sister. This little girl goes to school every day, compares herself to everyone around her, her friends, and all girls and women in the school. That that's not bad enough, we all know. I mean, we all experience that. But now imagine how it is that that girl goes home and spends 4 hours of her day online and does the same. But now she not only compares herself to the people she actually knows and sees with her own eyes, but she also compares herself to pictures, which are in most cases not even real, because we all know that those pictures are changed. So people on the pictures look a certain way and want to achieve certain unobtainable body ideals. So now I come back to the survey we were just presented to. A young woman aged 19 to 25 stated, "Whenever I post any picture, I always need to double check it, as if I were double checking an exam before submitting it. Because I'm afraid of what people will say, if they will think I'm ugly. What I'm wearing is not nice. I'm also afraid of body shaming." When I read this quote, I was shocked. Like, why does she treat her body like an actual exam that she does not only have to pass, but also to excel? Over 30% have felt negative about themselves due to other people's comments on their own, but also on other people's content. 100% of those think it's because they are women or girls. Another girl, aged 16 to 18, stated, "I feel like I'm an object and that people think it's normal to say and judge everything I do." That just underlines how concerning the issue of body confidence is, and it should be to all of us. So now I'm coming back to Free Being Me. Free Being Me has really powerful statistics, and I used them before many times because I really like them, because they show how it actually has an impact when we take action towards a more body confident world. 85% of participants reported that they are feeling better about themselves and their bodies after taking part in Free Being Me. 80% of participants felt that the program has a positive impact on their bodies. And 76% believe they can take action to create a more body confident world. So the main takeaways: body confidence is not only, as we all know, a public health issue, but it's also an issue of gender equality. And with the ever-rising amount of time we spend online and the widespread unobtainable body ideals, it is an issue that should not only concern us as an organization, but also all societies and governments and you. So I invite all of you to join us on taking action, because it does make a difference, so that the 13-year-old girl from the beginning can start feeling confident about herself and can start to speak up on herself. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And with that, I will now move to Munja, because we know that by the end of going through the self-smart journey, young people will have learned, how to protect their personal information and stay safe when online. Also, how to conduct themselves positively online, respecting others' opinions and feelings, but also how to be the change online by speaking out for equal digital rights and access for everyone. Please do share with us what it has been like for you to go through the program, and also tell us what it has been to train more young people to speak out and to take action and be safe online, but also have respect and speak out for their digital rights. And also to share what it has been like to work at the community, at the grassroots level on this program.
Thank you, Shamantia. So yes, nowadays internet has become a part of our daily lives. So it has been hard to get almost anything that we have to go from meeting new friends, finding a job online, and for researching for school. So did you know that in 2020, in 1 minute more than 300,000 stories were shared online via Instagram, offered by the internet, but the world becomes less fun when you consider the level of sexual harassment, cyberbullying, and drug threats just because they are women and girls. In the survey conducted by WAGGGS, with over 1,000 women and girls, two-thirds of girls or women shared that they have received and seen sexual or violent content which made them feel uncomfortable. So allow me also to share more facts, like 45% of girls and women responded that they have received unwelcome sexual messages, and 42% of girls have since changed their behavior online to do that. This is sadly a tragic reality. Then, in light of these facts and experiences, we strongly urge the stakeholders to take action on eliminating online gender-based violence and ensure the gender-responsive approaches to innovation, technology, and digital education to increase awareness amongst women and girls regarding their rights and civic engagement. We also demand for strict inclusion of policies that are specific to gender, addressing to the intersectionality within it, providing girls, women, and other marginalized groups with digital education and technology for more creative solutions, and greater potential for innovation that meet girls' and women's needs and promote gender equality and equity for a better digital education and grassroots level. Also, it is high time for stakeholders, including governments and private sector, to invest in the capacity building in inclusive and transformative technology and digital education for a sustainable future. So let's join our hands and contribute to making the internet world a fun and safe space for every woman and girl like you and me.
Thank you, Joanna. I think it was a very powerful intervention from you, so thank you very much. And I know that you all will have so many questions, comments, reflections on the amazing and inspiring stories that were shared by all our speakers. But keeping all of that to the end, we now have a call to action that has been drafted by all 20 global advocacy champions, from whom we have 5 of them here in person, but we also have the others joined virtually. So now I'm going to invite Laura to present our call to action.
Thank you, Samantha. As a group, we came together to discuss this data as well as the programs we've participated in and ask ourselves what changes we'd like to see for a better, inclusive and equitable world. Our first one was we wanted to create a digital world of equality and equity. Without equal access to technology and the internet, girls and women are not able to equally participate in our ever more digital societies, which is holding them back. So we want to ensure a gender responsive and intersectional approach to innovation, technology, and digital education across all laws and policies as well. Provide girls and women and other marginalised groups with digital education and the technology for more creative solutions and greater potential for innovations that meet the needs of girls and women, that promotes gender equality and equity for a sustainable digital future. We want to see investment in transformative and inclusive law enforcement mechanisms to guarantee sensitive and effective handling of complex forms of online gender-based violence, including accessible reporting systems for everyone. We want to see, our second one was we want to see an establishment of clear legal framework to address online violence against girls and young women. Social media is perceived as an unsafe space. The issue arises from the lack of regulation and formalised policies in preventing this online violence. We urge the government to take action and into consideration serious harms of online violence and the effects that it has on girls and young women. We want to take action against misogynistic hate speech and the power that social media is given in spreading misinformation, and the increasing culture by strengthening the legal frameworks and ensuring that non-formal education, exactly like WAGGGS does, addresses gender stereotypes. And we also want to provide legislative direction to criminal justice bodies through the adoption, strengthening and enforcing of laws against online violence against girls and women. We also want to see and advocate for better body confidence to be prioritised for girls and young women. Appearance-based discrimination, objectification and body shaming online and offline is not just a public health issue, but also a gender equality issue. It affects young women's and girls' mental health and impedes on the attainment of their human rights. Young women and girls should be safe, confident, and empowered to speak up and take action to address appearance and gender-based discrimination. We want to see the introduction of legislation and enforcement of laws for the protection of girls and young women from sexualisation and objectification, as well as harassment online in relation to body image. We want to see the development, the support, and the strengthening of mental health initiatives and body confidence building initiatives, both online and offline, to address young women's and girls' mental health as a result of this low body confidence and self-esteem. We also want to commit to preventing the marketing of an unobtainable body ideal and increase the representation of diverse young women and girls within the media.
Thank you, Laura, and for all the global advocacy champions who really put all their efforts in, working on the call to action. And I think that is, evident that you really are speaking out, not only from your experience, but for all the millions of girls that we represent. The voices of everyone who's back in their homes, working on these topics, and we are bringing their voices to the table. So we would really request everyone who's here, but also beyond this room, who's at CSW, to really advocate for these changes that we really want to see happen in all of our countries in the world. With that, we all know that how important it is for organizations like WAGGGS working with girls and young women at the grassroots to be able to deliver our programs in a sustainable way. So resourcing has become a challenge, as we know, for all of us working in these organizations. And we have been fortunate to have long-standing partnerships with organizations that has partnered with us throughout the journey of our programs, from design to delivery. With that, let me introduce our distinguished guests and also our partners who are here in the panel today. So we have Kim Allman, from Head of Corporate Responsibility, ESG, and Public Policy at Generation Digital, a global company powering digital freedom through a range of consumer products. Generation Digital have worked with the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts since 2018 to deliver Serve Smart, a unique program aimed at ensuring a generation of girls and young women have the knowledge and skills to not only protect themselves and others online, but also speak out for equal digital rights and access for all. We also have Victoria Floyd, a global brand manager from Dove Self-Esteem Project, the largest self-esteem education provider in the world that believes in arming the next generation with the tools to reach their full potential. Since 2014, WAGGGS and Dove have been delivering the Free Being Me program in over 125 countries worldwide and reached over 6.5 million young people with body confidence and self-esteem activities. Thank you, Kim and Victoria, for accepting our invitation and supporting our event today. I will invite Linda to raise the first question. So over to you, Linda.
Okay, thank you very much. My first question is to Kim Allman. Okay, so as a company that specializes in online security, what more do you think could be done to address violence against women online and also address online violence?
Thank you, and thank you to you all, and congratulations on the study. What more can be done? I mean, as you can see from the results of their study and as the stories that we hear, a lot more needs to be done. That's why we are very proud at Gen Digital Norton to work with WAGGGS and to work on partnerships like this, because I think the more that you have investment from the private sector with the nonprofit sector working together, you can really help to move the needle on some of these conversations. And I really think that's what needs to happen. We need more education and more advocacy, right? People need to hear more. Every time I've heard so many of stories like these about harassment and violence and things like that online, and I still shake my head every time I hear somebody mention another story, because it's just, I know it's hard to talk about, but I think the more that those stories come out, and the more as me working on behalf of corporate America company can help to get those stories out, I think is something that's valuable. We our partnership with WAGGGS on certain which we're very proud of, is helping the advocates basically talk about not only the hard parts about the internet and what to be careful of, but it's also teaching them, look at the positive sides of the internet, look at the positivity that you can get out of some of these interactions on social media, how to create passwords, how to operate safely online, and then how to advocate, right? How to talk about these things so that you're empowering your peers, you're empowering your friends, your parents, whomever, on what they need to do to be safe online. And so I think really the best answer to all of this is, of course, education, and then again, more advocacy and continued partnerships. I mean, we're obviously an online, if you know us, we're obviously an online cybersecurity company, online safety. And so we have a role. We feel we have a responsibility to talk about that. We see research, we see trends, we see things like that we are creating products for. So I think we want to be responsible that way, and we should. I think the larger kind of question and issue is what other companies can be talking about this? What other entities should be talking about this? It involves a lot of other things, as we see our friends here from Dove. So I think that there's much more that can be said on this, and I'm just happy that we're working to move the conversation along.
Thank you, Kim. And I think you rightly said about how much these programs also go beyond the direct beneficiaries to their families, to their friends, to communities. And I think it also shows the impact that we create on so many lives, and especially on some of these issues that we are talking about. So thank you for sharing your experience and also speaking about how we have to bring in more organizations to take lead and to engage with organizations like WAGGGS that work with adolescents, with young people at the grassroots. So with that, now I'm going to invite Abigail for the next question. Over to you, Abigail.
Thank you. My question is to Victoria from Dove. As a skincare company, what more do you think can be done to realize a healthy body image?
Thank you so much, Ab, for inviting us here and for you all to be here listening today. The short answer is a lot. And I could talk about this for many hours, so I will try and keep it concise. But body image has a significant impact on us all. How we see ourselves, evaluate our self-worth, and interact with the world. And it is an issue that is often not given enough airspace or talked about on policies. And that is why at Dove we have created what we call the Let's Change Beauty model, which helps us structure and organize all the work that we do on purposeful campaigns, changing environmental pressures on body image, and educating young people through the Dove self-esteem program. And we believe by influencing across all these three tiers, we can create supportive environments for young people to build healthy body image and body confidence to reach their full potential. So a big one that has been mentioned in the recommendations is the media landscape and beauty industry that have created a toxic, sexually objectified, and unattainable beauty ideal that impacts our girls every single day. And that is why since 2004, we have committed to not digitally distort any of our imagery in our communications and use an inclusive and diverse representation of women of every size, color, and shape. But sadly, us doing this alone will not create change. And so we truly believe in trying to influence every industry and business out there to do the same. In 2018, we started steps towards this to enable other businesses to access diverse imagery through a gallery co-created with Getty Images called Show Us. So if you haven't heard about it, please go have a look. And that's trying to enable every business to use imagery that we think is inclusive and representative, because that is the only way we're going to create a media landscape that actually has a positive impact on the girls of today versus the incredibly a negative impact that we are seeing now, sadly. There are also other external factors, like the environmental pressures of appearance discrimination, which I'm sure all of us have experienced, which is truly upsetting. At the moment, we are engaged in two separate areas of advocating for policy change. And the first is inclusivity and equity of natural black and mixed race textured hair through the Crown Act in the US, as well as a new initiative in multiple states around sizeism. So working with NAFA to help create legal protection for anyone who's experiencing height or weight-based discrimination. And we have a really big report called The Real Cost of Beauty Ideals, and showing the cost to the economy based on appearance-based discrimination. So go have a look, it's terrifying, but really, really educational. There are a lot of other areas that we would love to be involved in and will over time. And so really a call to action of every organization and government to address appearance-based discrimination, because until we are all treated fairly without appearance-based discrimination, there will be no equality. And then lastly, most importantly, to why we are here today is the arming and education of young girls to achieve their full potential through body confidence education. And we look to create support for every influencer within a young girl's environment. So whether that is a parent and family, or teachers, and sometimes supported by government, which is really great, to peer-to-peer education like we have with WAGGGS, and the programs of Free Being Me and Action on Body Confidence that we co-created with our partners. These are all evidence-based work, validated scientifically, and worked on with body experts from around the world. So really proving that there can be impact on body confidence through education and creating these safe spaces. As with the theme of today, we are also firmly in the digital era and have created self-led social journeys and a new game launched on Roblox to ensure that we are where girls are today and helping educate them and support them in the activities that they're spending their time on most. So as you can tell, there is a lot that we are doing, and we love to bring like-minded organizations and policymakers on board to help really create change on a topic that has significant impact on our mental and physical selves. So call to action to everyone on giving this the airspace it needs for every young girl. Thanks.
Thank you, Victoria. And I think when I was reflecting on what you were sharing, I think it's definitely something I would agree from my point of view too about the multi-stakeholder approach. And I think it's also about not only us reaching to governments, to UN agencies, but also the private sector, but also beyond that, media and all other, organizations that can make a difference, and how do we engage everyone in this conversation to bring about the change. And even you mentioned about it, how everyone should be coming on board to speak about these matters and to really take action. So thank you for that, and I will quickly move to the next question, which will be by Onsha.
So my question goes to you. It's like, what is the significance of the first math program for Norton?
So, sorry, thank you. So it means, I mean, not to be totally simplistic, but it means a lot to the company. It means a lot to us to remove or help to remove obstacles that prevent equality or equity online. So, and I think, there's a lot of discussion this week as you all are involved in equity and equality and women and girls. And I think one of the things that really prevents equity and equality is not being able to utilize the internet without fear, without being harassed. So I think it's really important for us to make sure that we're doing our part with our partnerships to so that people know how to be safe. They know where to get help. They know how to talk about it. They know what to do to prevent it, right? They know where to go, because I think a lot of kids, I'm a mother of teenagers, they're boys, they're not girls, but they're boys. But I know how frustrating it can be when you see that, someone's experiencing something online and they don't know how to talk about it, right? Or they don't know where to go. They're even afraid to talk to their friends because some of it is embarrassing, right? And you're especially not going to talk to adults, as your first course of conversation. So I think, the more that we can arm and partner to help young people with tools and guidance and supports and advocates that they can talk to that are peers and things like that is so incredibly important. And again, we're just so proud of the program and the partnership.
Thank you, Kim, and I think we are equally proud to be partnering with you to really take this program forward. And we hope that it will move forward in a sustainable way and it will expand even further to reach more girls and young women, and even beyond them. So I think it's the last question to our partners, and I'll move to Joanna for the final question.
Thank you. So I'm basically giving you the same question. What is the significance of freeing me for that?
The partnership with WAGGGS and our co-created programs of Free Being Me and Action on Body Confidence are vital to that. We have a target to reach 250 million young people by 2030. And without the work that you will do, that would not be possible. So I know we had some of the stats before, but I'll reiterate them because they are truly incredible. But this is a global partnership that started since 2014. But actually our very first impact session back in 2005 was with the US Girl Scouts. So a really rich history of impact. We've reached 6.5 million girls, I'm glad Pep said stats, 6.5 million girls around the world in 125 markets, which makes it our broadest reach program as well. But really, more than the stats and the impact, I think it is absolutely touching to hear feedback from your network of young leaders and girls about how important these programs are, and hearing stories from the Ukraine team last year about how this program was actually really important to them while they were going through the incredible upheaval and wartime, which truly validates what we are all doing together. So we are fully committed to this program, and we love all the work that you guys do with us. Sadly, we cannot thank you for all of that, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Victoria, and I think for reiterating how important it is to have this conversation and how to keep going with the support of everyone coming in and make it a really multi-stakeholder work that we go forward. Now I think it's going to be the interactive space. So we are going to open to the audience. And I know that you all had reflections, questions, comments in previous segments as well. So our wonderful staff members from WAGGGS, Neville and Vichya, will be helping with them, and Laura will be helping with the microphones. So please do raise your hand and we'll help with the mic. So feel free to share your questions. It could be any of the speakers in the panel, including our partners, and also any reflections, comments, or your experiences that you would like to share with everyone.
Hi, this question is for Kim, and I could be naive, but I'm thinking of my own daughters. How does someone's Facebook account get hacked in the first place?
So, sorry. That's a $50 million question. I mean, there are people out there that that's all that they do. Is if your account is not secure, one of the things we talk about is make sure that your passwords are secure. Don't use your dog's name. Don't use your parents' name. Don't use your birthday. Use complicated passwords so that people can't hack your accounts. Use two-factor authentication. Not a lot of companies, a lot of the social media companies don't really advertise a lot of that stuff. Take the maximum efforts that you can to protect yourself with all of your accounts like that. And then, don't use, there's public Wi-Fi, things like that. I mean, make sure that you're using your connections that you're using. You're always questioning whether or not they're safe. That's the big thing, because people are out there trying to hack accounts all the time, and the more that you protect yourself, the less likely you are to have your accounts like that hacked. But if you do find yourself hacked on those accounts, you immediately change your password. So that's the big thing, and it happens. I mean, it happens. I'm in the security business, and it happens. So just make sure you're good passwords.
Hi, I'm Alison Gillisman, Member of Parliament from Scotland. I want to thank Hannah, who told me to come from Scotland, and Abigail, I think you gave me a flyer yesterday. It's a really interesting event, a really interesting report. And I'm really struck by what I've heard all the way through this conference so far about self-censorship and people and women not feeling able to put things online, and the things that prevents you saying and prevents you doing. And I just wondered if I could get some of the panel's thoughts on what further education needs to happen to boys so that they know not to say things like this that will put women off. And I say that as a mum of a 12-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. And I don't want her to feel as though she can't say things because of the impact that boys, like hopefully not like my son, might make to speak with being online.
Who would like to?
Okay. Yeah. So could not agree with you more. And from our perspective, we make sure that all of the programs that we do on body confidence and body image are addressed to both young boys and young girls. And a big space of this is social media literacy and helping them understand how people are engaging with social media, things like ads, things like editing, things like comments and the impact it can have. And I think co-ed environments where there's a safe space for people to speak out about the experiences they're having often helps bring young boys along that journey of what impact they can have. Another area is body talk and the type of language that we use, because especially at a young age, they're reiterating language that they've heard before that they don't quite understand the impact that it's having. Again, safe spaces where a co-ed conversation can be had to understand the emotional impact of some of that language that's being used is so important. And I've run sessions with kids as young as grade 4 and grade 5 where people are like crying. And this is a young boy who said, I never understood that I find this funny and that you're going home and feeling like this about yourself because of what I've said, and I will never do that again. And I think so often parents don't understand sometimes that we'll say things flippantly, or teachers or ourselves in these environments, and young kids pick that up and take it on without understanding the impact. And so truly believing having open spaces, either from a parent and child perspective or in schools and co-ed environments, really can help impact from a very young age to create prevention instead of rectifying the issue, unfortunately, when they're like 18 and 20 and believe in some of these more toxic things. So that's our point of view.
Thank you, Victoria, for sharing that. And now I'd like to invite Natalie also to share a little bit about from the vaccine.
Yes, so hello everyone, my name is Nefeli Themeli. I'm here also supporting the amazing team that you just met. I'm a global program manager for WAGGGS, and I'm one of the co-leads for the Stop the Violence campaign. So the Stop the Violence campaign, along with all the other programs, although we do believe in create safe and brave spaces for girls only, and we do believe that we need to have those women only and girls only spaces. We also, all of our programs have that co-educational component in order to bring boys and men in the conversation in order to be part of this non-formal educational journey. So in all of those programs, there are aspects within the curriculum, but also the different associations that participate have also that aspect. And besides that, when we deliver programs, we always have that community engagement. So whether it is in the guiding units, and they're not guides, they do guiding and Girl Scouting in many parts of the world happen in the schools, but also in the community. So we do make sure that there is that element of that of male engagement and boys engagement as well. Thank you. There was another question.
Thanks, Natalie. I think there was another one.
Hi. All the work you guys are doing is absolutely fantastic. It's so great to hear about all the amazing advocacy efforts that you guys are working on, and it feels so cool to be here as a Girl Scout. But I've also talked about all this advocacy that's going on through NGOs, but when it comes to issues like digital literacy and cybersecurity especially, and body issues, and so on and so forth, it's really important for corporate responsibility, corporate social responsibility to be a major factor. And I love the work that you're doing this way, but Ms. Olin, would you mind elaborating a little bit on maybe what your company is doing or what you're aware of other companies doing to protect young women on these sites?
So thank you for the question. I agree with you. It's very important for, as I said before, I think it's really important for companies to step up and really use expertise. And I think that's one of the things that we're trying to do. I run our corporate responsibility program. And one of the things that we are super focused on through, not only through funding for our philanthropy, but also through product donation. We have a global commitment to donate products to NGOs and to nonprofits so that nonprofits that can't afford the necessary protection to protect their devices or things like that can benefit from our products. So that's really important to us. But I think the majority of what we spend our money on through our philanthropy is on cybersecurity, safety, education, and training. Now that sounds kind of big and boring, but it's really important in terms of making sure that we are putting our money towards helping people be safe online. That is what we do. That is the majority of what we spend our money on with philanthropy. We have partnerships. You had asked about boys and how they're being impacted. One of our big partnerships in the US is with the Parent Teachers Association. And we partner there to drive a module to help parents, teachers, with kids from ages, from elementary school on up through high school, on what does being online mean? what is that, looking at all the instances throughout their lives, through school and everything, of what they're going to encounter, what the rules are around it, what are proper usages around it, and you come up with a kind of a contract or an agreement with your parents or your teachers on how to work safely online. We are really working to drive that message everywhere we can. So, particularly with, vulnerable populations, women, right, young girls, are vulnerable with this. But I think that's really what we're trying to do is use, our funding, our expertise to really drive education and advocacy on them.
Thank you, Kim. And also just to add a little bit on, other organizations that work on this, specifically on this thematic area. I think also connecting it to, because we are at CSW, connecting it to generation equality. One of the action coalition is on technology and innovation, and there are so many commitment makers from different sectors that have been committed to work on this particular thematic area. And who was part of the Generation Equality Task Force, one area that we as youth that were really involved in that generation equality process was to really push for organizations to come forward and commit to address some of the major issues that we see specifically on this thematic area. So with that, I think we are coming almost on time, but we'll go for one question, final question, or
Thank you so much. On behalf of the Jubilee campaign, stop laughing. Together with coalition with Fatima here from Nigeria. So one of the issues that they face is advocates who try and speak out against sexual and gender-based violence. For example, there's widespread kidnapping of young women and girls in Nigeria, forced conversions, and when people try and bring out information about it online, it can get taken down. And then also you have the case of Deborah Emmanuel Yakubu, who was in a WhatsApp group with male students, university students, and when she spoke out about what she believes, they started targeting her, and she was actually murdered and killed in Nigeria, and because of her activity online, whereas their statements, their threats remain online, whereas women's calling out violence is sometimes flagged as blasphemy. Like we have one case, a woman, Rhoda, now in prison because she spoke up for Deborah, the university student. So how can we work to ensure that advocates are not silenced, and when they expose this violence that's happening in person, online, how can we support them, and how can we ensure that Facebook and other corporations do not flag this as dangerous speech when they're actually trying to address a really using that as the only space where they have to actually lift their voice and to actually bring the lead for these women and girls who are suffering from.
anyone in the panel?
Thank you for your question. I think it comes down to holding people accountable, and not just individuals, but governments as well. So the international human rights bodies need to take a look into these things, because these things should not be happening, especially in this modern age. Someone should be able to freely express themselves. After all, that's a human right. We have a right to freedom of expression. So these types of censoring of people, advocacy, these attacks on advocates should not be happening in this day and age. We need to stand against it, and there is the issue for proper accountability and precautionary measures. Also, there needs to be proper measures in place where someone could be held accountable and punished the right way. There should be penalties for these types of attacks on advocates who advocates on advocacy on whatever level it may be. Any attacks in this types of way to censor their speech, especially if it is something for a positive manner or something about the inequalities we face in this world where we need to be there should never be cases where someone actually loses their life because of speaking up against what's wrong and the societal ills that we face. So, final words, just to summarize what I just said, I think the whole issue of accountability is what can actually make a difference for situations like what you just mentioned. Thank you.
What a way to kind of, in the reflections and question and answer session, I think, especially around accountability, because all what we were discussing and all what we were sharing is also to show how much we are accountable as individuals, as organizations, to what the work we are doing. You know, from the private sector to the corporate social responsibility programs, to everyone coming on board to really work on these topics, is to show that they are accountable. And for us as individuals, as youth advocates, to really come here and to share some of the work that we are doing at the grassroots levels, and also holding people who have the power to make change, is also being part of that accountability process. I think it's very important, like Abigail said, that we really push the pushbacks. There will be a lot of challenges that will come, especially to advocates who are fighting for their rights, and especially on areas like this, who have the power and the money to really control some of these spaces. And these are big giants that we are talking about, trying to silence advocates and people who are really trying to voice up their opinions, express their issues, their challenges. So I think it's all of us here in the audience and in the panel to really take action, to speak up. And the CSW platform gives us to do that. Since we are almost at the end, now I'm going to let Laura to really sum up all what we discussed. I know that some of y'all will have more reflections and more questions, but we are happy to stay a little longer, maybe outside the room, and discuss and hear what you have to say. But we really need to give this room for the next event. I know, however interesting that, and we are eager to hear all of that. We really need to handle this space. So Laura, over to you.
Thank you, Samantha. So the Global Advocacy Champions programs you've heard about today, Free Me, Voices Against Violence, Serve Smart, demonstrate how the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts is helping to promote and address inequalities for girls and young women across the world, to allow them to become confident women who can express themselves and support each other, to better themselves and to create the world they want to see. The survey demonstrates the need for these programs and the benefits that they can have in the lives of girls and young women. We urge you to take these survey results and learn how we can better support and empower girls and young women to create confident girls who can reach their full potential, as well as to create safe, free spaces for all online to express themselves.
Thank you, Laura, and I think you really summed it up well. So thank you for that, but also to all of you, from government representatives to UN agencies, to private sector, to our partners who are with us today, to our member organizations, GSUSA and Girl Scouts Taiwan, to all our awesome friends who are here, to all the other members who are in the audience. Thank you for joining us today. And if you all wish to connect with WAGGGS to share more about what you're doing or to work together with us, Nefli and the chair from our WAGGGS staff team is here. Please do connect with us. And you also have the information that from our survey in the leaflet that we shared. So thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you all have a great CSW experience.
Yeah, I was just saying, but you guys want to be in it too? That's awesome. I'll take it. Oh, this will be yeah. Okay, group of cookie. What are we doing in the front? Oh.
Thank you so much for staying until the end. Thank you so much. And now we are ending the live stream now. Thank you. Bye.